So now that you've watched the previous video about like the gouache, why we're not using white, how you'll be able to find those tonalities, let's go back to this. So now what we're going to do is kind of figure out the color choices and like how you're going to have those tones. I personally like to think about it like, okay, so where are my lights, where are my darks? How can I work with those things? So if you want to, you can kind of choose or make a little note of how you're going to interact with the colors, not the colors, but the tones. Like for instance, this can be more of a mid-tone dominant one. This might be more of a dark kind of dominant one. This can be one that has possibly a lot of reflected light. And we'll talk about that. And then maybe, maybe I can figure out how I can make this more spooky. So that goes back to like tonality. I'm not quite sure how I'll be able to kind of get these things. I don't even know if I'll be able to accomplish those things with how I work. So here we go. Let's just try stuff. It depends on what you want to do, but you can use bigger brushes for larger areas. Because these thumbnails are kind of small, I might use a medium brush, and I shouldn't need to use like a smaller brush for details because I shouldn't be getting into details. You should be able to kind of like do big swipes of color. Let me look and see if I have a brush that will be suitable for this. Maybe I'll use a flat brush, I don't know. I like using round brushes a lot. This is what I enjoy. But let me just try. No, I feel like it's too big. So let me just use my medium, like my medium round brush. I knew I was gonna use that anyway. Okay, so just knocking off a little bit of water. I might want to, let's see. Just go like that. I'm gonna try something for like the mid-tone one. So I wanna make sure that I have all three tones represented. That is the project. It's just being able to figure out tones. After you do that, then you can go into details, make sure that they can shine brighter, if you will, by going in and in the larger piece, add those details, like making the little waves in the water or something like that. So let me just go ahead. Maybe I should test this. Now I don't know what kind of color I've gotten. Okay, so it's pretty dark. All right, I'm gonna just go for it. Let's go back here. At least I can get the trees done. I'm gonna leave the background to be white or darker in the front. And I'm just gonna keep using this until it runs out of steam. It's kind of like a dry brush effect eventually, right? There you go. Oh my gosh, I've accomplished two different tones almost in the same thing. It looks more like a gradient. Why? Because I had pretty much a lot of water on my, not a lot, maybe a medium amount of water on my brush. And then eventually you can kind of move those colors down. If I want to go back in, I can. See that? Really lightly. I'm just going like tiny brushy lightly on that. But I really don't need to, you know, because this is just like a thumbnail type of thing. Let me just try something else. Using, I don't know what color this is going to come out as. Let me try and make a dark pond for something like this. Okay. It's really dry brushy. So I'm going to just grab a wee bit of water. Just a tiny bit. Don't forget about those reeds. They need to kind of come out. Just really blending this, but notice that I've run out of this mud color. What do I do with the bottom of a ghost? I don't know, just go right into it. Let's grab a little bit more water, bring that back out on the brush, go back in with, and I just went directly into the paint. This is already wet. So I'm just gonna go right back into it. And I'm starting to think to myself, like, okay, so is this gonna silhouette the bird? How will my elements start standing out? Okay. So there's a dark mud puddle. So I'm kind of moving around. I feel like this is really mid-tone. I think I'm gonna go even darker for these trees over here. And this is why I do this all on the same page. They're for comparison. You want to compare, contrast, play around. And that's also, like, you can see I like to jump back and forth. That's just me. Eventually it'll get harder because then my wrist will be in like some kind of a setting probably. There we go. Yeah. So like I'm moving the visual point kind of around. Okay, so I put here that I wanted a reflected type of light thing going on here. So if this is reflected light, then most likely some kind of color or tone will be bouncing off of this. So it would be something like if the moon was like directly above, it would be striking on the pond below and then bouncing back up. So most likely this would make this entire area here like very dark. So let me try. And this is, again, we are trying our best. This can be very dark. Maybe that's too dark. We'll find out. Okay, leave some space for his yelling. Rah, rah, rah. He's like mad. And then we talked about this earlier. I'm gonna edit out this lawn. I feel like, you know, like I've been to like the countryside and, you know, sometimes you just have like some houses and then you have this big old field. And I think that's what I'm imagining here. Okay, I just brought a bunch of water into my brush. I'm just moving it right along inside this. What am I gonna do with this house? Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and add a bunch of water to my brush, move that right along. And then let's see if I can bring more water in and just move that right into my ghost. Move that right onto the duck. Oh, I think I done this wrong. Maybe not. Let's see. Keep going, keep going. Don't be afraid. Experiment. Okay. Yeah, I think this is doing something. I don't know, I feel good about it. I'm gonna this is where a bigger brush would be coming in handy, so I don't have to do all this. Using water, and I'm not going to disperse this area. So I can really get right around here, get more this black, get right into that bird. Okay, cool. I think this might be a finished one for myself. I like the fact that it has, I mean, let's talk about this. We have a light tone, we have a mid-tone, and we have a dark. Cool. I could probably even go back in, let me see if I can. And this is just water on my brush. I don't know if you can even see this on camera. but I'm just going in and I'm moving some of this paint up so that mid-tone comes up. And then the sky has a color, but it's not really. There's still highlights here, like up here, somewhere in the water. I think that should be fine. I think if I really wanted to, like for reflected light, if it comes down and it was bouncing back up, this area would be kind of dark on the bird. Here we go, Carol, let's try. I think that this area would be kind of darker. I think there would be more of a shadow. And then also I might want to bring attention to his stripes. So I might kind of do one of these. Then bring those stripes also onto his hat. Okay, so that's enough thinking. Let's go on to, I think this one will be done. I feel like if I keep going with it, I'll overwork it. And what I mean by overworking is just like you keep working on it, you keep working on it, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's just not good. It's just, you're like, oh no, I've done it and now it's way too much. And I think that that's something that's really difficult to do. Look at me doing this. Look at me going back in. Gotta stop. All right, let me stop it. But you can kind of tell what I mean by that. It's really hard to pull yourself away from this type of thing. So I'm just gonna pull myself away. All right, so that's done. For spookiness, spooky. I feel like this is more, maybe it's a little spooky. I wonder how I can make this spooky. Let me just go ahead. I haven't gotten like a darker sky. So let me try and get a darker sky and lighter trees. I don't know if this will give me spooky, but at least I came in with an intention, okay? Like I tried. That's all you gotta do. Eventually something will hit spooky or some other feeling. Yeah, I think that this is already kind of feeling a little bit more dark. And notice that I'm kind of starting with different focal points in each one of these. I don't know why I do that, but it does help me going around and kind of figuring out to make these different. It's really hard to just kind of go from one and then having to think, oh, I need to make it different on another one. Well, if you started off making it different, like maybe this is a mid-tone or a toned sky, this is a non-tone sky, this is maybe going to be a different type of tonality. Maybe this is going to be a different type of tonality. So yeah, like I'm just saying, it might be fine to go out of order. Let me go really dark on the sky. Really, really dark. There's like, you can see the dry brush effect here. There's like no water on my brush almost. Going in. Just getting that. A lot of times I'm just using just the water on this that splashed up on the side of my water receptacle. I'm using the cheese one. Going real dark for the sky. Then we get much more water. Bring that in. Going, swiping. Going back in. There you go. All right, so this is actually more of a mid-tone. This is more of a dark sky, but I'm cool with it. This is actually getting more spooky. My spooky intention is not there. So let me go ahead and maybe, this is dark, this is dark. That is mid-tone. I feel like we can add, while I have this loaded on my brush still, I'm like, okay, like how can I use this tone somewhere else? Well, let me just go ahead and bring some of these foreground elements forward. Where there's contrast, your eye will go there. So the light and dark is a contrast, and that's why I'll be doing that. Okay, that looks good. I'm not mad. Alrighty, and do I want to leave my ghost white here? Do I want to make like this? So let me grab just a wee bit of water, and I'm gonna actually, let me tone the ducks or whatever these guys are a little bit. Oops, that's too much water. You can see, tap tap, a little dab will do ya. Okay, go like that, go like that. Okay, because I just want a little bit. And then I'm gonna just bring this around. So instead of having his middle be a certain tone, I'm gonna go and kind of give more of an outline. Like there's such a light source somewhere in this pond. So he has a little bit of shadow. Actually, the shadow would be going in a different direction. That's okay. Put a little bit of lines here. Just a wee bit for this. And like, just like anything else, your tones, you'll find that you like certain ones, you don't like others. Some things will work and sometimes you can even combine things because these are still, you know, considered thumbnails. So when you get to your final piece, you'll not only know how to approach your, like what's important, why you like certain things, but in also how you want to treat the paint. Like, look at me. Ooh, I've decided to make some kind of effect where it's coming like these little lines. Might add some texture. So like this is the time to figure these things out. I think I'm gonna do another mid-tone kind of sky, or a lighter, yeah, type of sky, but somewhere in the mid-tone range. So let's see, go in really soggily, put that together. Yeah, all right, cool. I think this one is done, that one's done. All right, let's move on to these last two. I want to do this to be a little bit similar. I want to go ahead and, this is a dark and this is a dark. I'm going to try and make a more spooky mid-tone, like a darker mud puddle. Bringing that out, testing on the side. Feel like I need more water. Testing on the side. All right, oops. Oh Lord. Okay, there you go. Go in, get some of this duck energy, grab, and like the way I grab it, I'm just like kissing. This is like my big swash of like things. You probably don't even need this much black. I just tend to waste paint, I guess. But yeah, like you just get like a little bit, like a little tiny, not even like a quarter of a dime it's worth. You don't even need that much, and you can go in and keep using that paint for a long time, depending on how heavy-handed you are. This is the time to test it. All right, so this mid-tone is working well. I think I might bring back this kind of inside ghost feeling, like he's has some kind of like lighting on him. Bring this back also on the ducks. Bring that. This is more mid-toned already. So this is not spooky. Oh well. The top one looks way more spooky. Oops, this is already going to be too dark, I can tell. Just get a little bit off my brush. Coming down, trying the hash marks down here in the application, trying to figure out if that will help add a little texture and interest or distract. Maybe it's distracting. I'm going to move that. Okay, bring that in. Same little thing here. Bring that down. This is already becoming a little bit boring. You can see that it's just a lot of mid-tone. Going back in, gonna see if I can make more contrasty areas. Let me just bring out some of these front elements. Like, remember these guys? Like, they were barely touched in the other scenes. But see if I can maybe darken some things in the front. Add some kind of silhouetting. That might actually be okay. And the reason why is I kind of like how there's a few of these things I like. I like this mid-tone one because this is really kind of keeping my eye right here. I actually like this as well. I think that it's really about trying to find out what is the best tonal study that will support your work, and like the focal point, like what is the interest point. So let me just put a bunch of water on this. I feel like I'm messing up, but that's fine. I feel good about myself and what I'm doing. It's an adventure. There you go. Yeah, I feel like that's getting a little bit better and building around my characters because I want that to stand out. And I'm just mentally thinking like, please look here, please look here. You know, and if this might be working. I think I might be kind of almost done with this one. Only because, let me just bring in, I think that this is still kind of rather simple. I am keeping a certain light area here. I brought in some midtones here. So it's kind of like framed, like the borders like are like this, and I have a lot of light energy coming around here, but I still have my light, like medium. This is all kind of medium, and then dark in the front. Last but not least, what to do about this. Okay. I'm getting my brush. I want, yeah, nice, kind of a mid-tone. But I'm gonna just swap, just put a bunch all the way across. So I have my dark, I have medium, and then I'm gonna leave my characters light. I'm gonna leave the house and the trees light. I think that somehow, I feel good about that. And I wanna leave that in for the composition. So it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, or I forgot, like what are those like things where you have to like find small differences in pictures? That is what you're basically doing to yourself. You're saying, okay, please, you know, especially if you're showing it to someone else, try and find the differences between these 2, 3, 4 pictures. And, you know, which one do you like the best? It's kind of like an eye test. You go, okay, do I like number 1 better? Do I like number 2, 3, or 4? And because they're all the same subject matter, that's why you're really kind of having to stretch yourself and play around a little bit more with this. Okay, I think I'm done. I don't want to add any more light colors to this. If I decide that I want to, maybe I can add, I kind of like no, I'm not going to do that. The reason why is I can go ahead and if there's certain elements I like from some and not all, I can go ahead and borrow those things. Like for instance, like I like this, like the way I've treated this one. This might be my favorite one, I think. And not just because it's first, but I kind of like the idea of the ducks being kind of like a mid-tone. There's a little bit of shadow on the ghost, not a lot. And you can see that there's like, I don't know, like this is kind of a mid-tone. Now, another thing that you might want to be thinking about is the, like I might go a little bit darker here on the front. If I go over it again, I might kind of bring this front area to that. That might be kind of cool. I like these kind of like stippling kind of long strokes that I made across the page here. So I think I might enjoy this first one, but then I might add elements of this one. So another way I like to do this, maybe I'm like this, I mix it up. Gotta make sure. I'll just go ahead and I'll label my drawings A, B, C, and D. So if I'm in communication with anybody else, I can, or even later on for myself, I can say, oh, I remember like notes on A. Notes on A is I wanted to add more of this thing. So it's like A plus D. So I can just put A plus D, and then you can say front grass, you know, and, or you can just make notes on what you really like about each one and then make another tonal study. But all I'm requiring is that you do 4. These are my 4. So after you choose what you like to do, then you'll go and you'll move on to the final. And then the final will have to be half of a page. So maybe it would fit somewhere in the middle of this. And you'll tape a boundary for yourself using the removable tape or painter's tape. So you can make sure that it is like crispy edges. You won't get like these like little frayed edges everywhere. Another thing is that this, as I was working with it, I felt like the quality of the paper wasn't what I really wanted. So I think I might go back to using the illustration manga paper. This is the brand, the Canson. It's kind of hard to find. I found mine at Hobby Lobby in Dublin, but you know, $14.99, not too bad. That's a good price. Or you can of course find it on Amazon as well. I put it in the syllabus, so you should know exactly the type. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to attempting the complete version of this. All right, so thanks so much.